So I'm joined with Ned Kelly. So Ned, you've got an army background and managed the Hereford Army football team in the 80s. What was that like for you?
Oh, fantastic! Really great. I actually got it on a Monday morning. We ran out of coffee, so I went in next door, and there's a lad there called Rusty, who used to play a lot for the Army Hereford team. And he looked a bit down. I said, "So what's the problem?" He just said, "Well, we needed a manager by 1 o'clock, otherwise the team is going to fold." And I just happened to say, "Well, I started on the team, when I was in Gibraltar." And he said, "Would you run it for a couple of weeks?" And of course and I said yes. And that couple of weeks lasted 4 years.
So Phil Stant was in your team. He went on to sign for Hereford.
Yeah.
Was it good to see him make a career out of the game?
Yes, it was. He was once again, it was around Christmas, and I was speaking because I was from the camp up the road, and I was speaking to the families officer, and he stopped me and he said, "Ned," he said, we got a young lad here that used to play for Reading, with Kerry Dixon." I said, "Really?" I said, "Where does he live?" So, straight away I was there. Anyway, I went round it, but he was gone for the Christmas period, so when he came back, we got hold of him. And of course, he came to us and he was just absolutely brilliant. We did have a hell of a lot of good players there as well, around him. But he was a bit special. He stood out a bit.
And how did his move to Hereford come about? Were you close to John Newman?
Well, I knew John Newman. He used to let us play. He used to Hereford, Edgar Street. We used to play some of our big Army games there. Army Cup and Army Infantry Cup. And got to know him, and of course, everybody was hearing about him because he was scoring 5 and 6 goals every game for us. But we had a lot of good players, that actually, made him goals for him. And most of the games we won in the last 10 or 15 minutes because of our fitness. But they were good times.
So you went on to join Manchester United as head of security. How did you get that job?
Well, I left in '88, and I was working in the Middle East for a couple of years, and then I come back, and I wrote to 6 clubs. Now the top 6 clubs at the time was Arsenal and Spurs in London, Liverpool and Everton, and Manchester City and Manchester United. But I also knew Bobby Charlton, and I'm telling him and the chairman as well, Martin Edwards, I had this idea where I could save them, thousands of pounds, every week on police, and what we actually done. And the reason I got into that was that I was involved with Michael Jackson on his bad tour in '88, and we had an incident at one of the shows at Wembley, and of course there was no police there. It was all private security. And I got involved in the incident because everyone looked at me because I was a big roughy toughy from down the road at a camp. And he was in a place called the Mixer, so I had to climb up the Mixer, which was about 30 foot off the ground, and get this guy down. And that's when it dawned on me. So I'm driving him up the M4 back to Hereford after the gig, and that's when it hit me. Because I belong to the Hereford branch of the Manchester United club, with Norman Ellis, from Belmont. And then I went up there. I done a presentation, and they gave me a trial with 8 guys for 4 matches, and that's how it really started. And in the end, I was doing security 24/7. Over 300, 400 guys every match, and of course it spread. I started doing Lancashire Cricket Club. I was doing a bit of work for City, Oldham, Rochdale, Charlton Athletic, Chelsea. Newmarket and the racecourse side of it, Chester, the Grand National at Aintree, Haydock Park. I was really all over, and the business growing. Of course, at the time there was only 6 cricket clubs that held the Test series, and I had 3 of them. I had 50%, which was Warwickshire, Yorkshire, and Lancashire, and the business just spread. We were just I think we were about the 5th or 6th largest security company in the country at one time. We were that big.
So I read a recent interview with Eric Cantona. You came to Herefordshire after the Crystal Palace Kung Fu incident in '95.
Yeah.
Was Hereford a good place for Eric to get away from, all the...
Well, yeah, because there was a lad there called Brummy. He was running one of these hostels for these kids, and and I got asked, could I bring any of the players down? And of course I brought him down. And the idea of it was raising money, for a good cause that he was doing. In actual fact, I still think he's doing it. And we'd done that, so we took him out, and there was actually thousands there. God, it was worse than going through the crowds to get all the hooligans out of the crowds, But yeah, it's not a good time. We had had lovely days here. against Fownhope and Westfield, Morris, John Jones. I mean, they were great days. And then I moved on to that, and so it was good. And he was a lovely man. I mean, he was 6'2", and let me tell you, Eric didn't need looking after. He was quite capable of looking after himself.
I was watching on YouTube the other day footage of Manchester United's Champions League win against Bayern Munich in 1999. 2 goals in injury time. I see you next to Sir Alex on the footage. Can you describe the feeling at the end of the game with those 2 goals in injury time to win the final?
Well, I was there, watching everybody, like I do. And, of course, I brought down the cup. And they actually had Bayern Munich's colours on it. Right? Yeah. So he was just placed it down. He walked away because I'm watching all this. And then, of course, Teddy Sheringham scored. Of course, he got a cup, went back into the tunnel. And, of course, then Ollie Gunnar scored a winner. Yeah. And, and I must admit, emotions took over. As I said, I was a member of the Old Hereford branch, of the club. And, so I was absolutely delighted. And I actually slept at it. I actually slept with a cup that night in the bed with me. Yeah. I did. It actually, and of course I was there looking after the party as well. And that finished. I got away about 6 o'clock. So and I couldn't go nowhere because people just wanted a gatecrest party, in Barcelona afterwards. And I had a hell of a job because when time I got back there, from the dressing room and the players and all that, a lot of people just went in there. There wasn't guests, and that took me a good 45 minutes to clear that out. And so we done that, and then the party started, and it was fantastic. And of course, Sir Alex had a press conference at 10 o'clock. Well, I got to bed about 6:15 with the cup, and of course I was up again, at 9. But yeah, the adrenaline was going, and it was just absolutely fantastic. It was a great night, I was there for sort of 12 and a half years, and I had a great time.
So you left Old Trafford a few years after that, and then migrated to Florida. What's the lifestyle like over in America?
It's fantastic. It's great. It's sunshine. You get 2 weeks of the year in January, just after Christmas, when it gets a bit cold. And what do you do? Okay, during the day you can walk around in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. At night you might have to put on a sweater. I've been back now a few weeks, and come on, is this summer? Forget it. Give me a break, will you? Come on. Sweaters, rain, winds. God's sake.
So you won't be coming back over here permanently then?
I don't think so. No. We move on. I've had some great memories here. I always come back. I always got. I was speaking to a friend before I actually come in to see you, and I was just telling him I always come down the M50 when I come in, and I just get a great feeling when I come over to Callow and I see the cathedral in the distance, and it's always a lovely feeling I get, and it's lovely to see the people as well, because with the football, we met a lot of local people, and we mixed in well with them. We had a good time with some great interseason Jews. They always come round here. Bobby Charlton came down, Sir Alex Ferguson come down and gave an after dinner speech for us. We used to invite people from teams and that to come in and join us, and we had a good time. It really was a good place to be. But I love the football here.